Welcome to Balls and Brews. Cheers, boys.
Cheers. Welcome back, guys.
God, that is good.
Light.
Yes. We are at a new digs for this pod. We're at Charlie Roscoe's place, so we're still working on the back setup and everything, but we want to welcome you back.
We had to get one in this weekend. You know, we felt like something was missing. So as you can tell by the nice white clean background, but we have plans. This is the transfer pod. The 37 transfer pod. So welcome back. So beer notes for what we're drinking here, nice and easy. You guys, you can find this everywhere. This is Mango Cart by Golden Road out of Los Angeles. So they also rep St. Louis. So they're in Midwest and West Coast. Drinks at only a 4%.
Dude, this is a breakfast beer.
You can chug it. You can chug it. You can literally, like, it's juice.
But it tastes good. Like, this is like almost like the perfect breakfast beer. Not a lot of booze in it. Still tastes good, but there still is booze in it for if you're
and it also goes with.
But other than that, you know, it's a good breakfast beer. I think it's delicious. It's a delicious beer in all.
Well, because once again, we've transitioned to, we do Saturday mornings now. It's no longer evenings when we're recording. So, you know, sucking down 11%ers at 9:30 in the morning can be a risky business.
Dude, talking about sucking down some 11%ers, what beers have you guys been drinking lately? I hit that a couple pods ago, everybody, or a while ago, we did the Narwhal.
Yeah.
So these guys watched the game last night at Charlie's house. I watched the game when we were talking Washington, Oregon. I watched the game at my house with my family, but we had a buddy come over. We split that Narwhal 11%er. It's a thick.
We all took down one on the pod, and it took about an hour.
Yes.
An hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
We were through most of 2 segments by the time we got it done.
Yes.
It's a thick one.
That was definitely the longest.
Not for the faint of heart. Oh, for sure. Even the higher ABVs that we've drank, we haven't taken that long. That one punched.
Those beers that are that thick, and you get the good 16-ounce ones, are a perfect beer to split with somebody.
Sure. Oh,
so you
8 ounces each.
Oh, dude, it's a perfect way to split it. So that's what I've been drinking. I did knock down the Red Rye from Imbibe that you brought up a little bit ago.
Great local beer.
My buddy knocked down the Kittens that we
Pile
had.
of Kittens by Urban Roots. Shout out.
He said that was absolutely delicious. We thought it was delicious, and then since I've been drinking a ton of red wine lately, so that's what I've been knocking.
That's
down.
your diet.
You guys, yeah.
A lot of red wine as well with the holidays. It's just what's around my house for Thanksgiving. I did pick up the next beer that we're gonna have, but a Mother Earth.
Great brewery.
Because I wanted my brother to try a nitro milk latte beer, and I originally went for I was looking for the Guinness, so they didn't have that, and I found that. I was like, oh, this is the winner.
Yeah. Dude, I can't wait to have it. But yeah,
we are. I was gonna say a little foreshadowing. That's the second beer, right? And that even drinks pretty light at 5%. We'll get into that brewery a little later. But I ended up Urban Roots. Shout out, because I went down to Craft. I know I mentioned them like once a pod, but I live around the corner from them now, and it's a little dangerous. But when I was shopping for us, I also bought me a sour called In It to Gimlet, which it was a lime sour gose aged in gin barrels.
Whew.
Yum. Dude, it was
No
more
problem.
balanced. I know. It was more balanced than it sounds by the description. It wasn't just like a hit you in the back of the throat warhead kind of shot.
What was the gin? What did the gin barrel do?
Did you still get that pine?
Oh, absolutely. That's 100% what you got. You got the juniper, yep, with a little bit of lime, a little bit of oh, it was great. Oh, it was fun. But see, I love really aggressive flavors. I love fermented, I love kombucha. I love really vinegary, aggressive, punchy flavors. I don't always need it, but I do enjoy. Sometimes I crave that. Just the same way I do a deep, dark. I want a stout. When I want a stout, I want a fucking stout. You know, there's no substitute. Oh, maybe I'll get a red. No, you want a dark fucking beer. So sometimes I crave sours. And then that was one of the ones I sampled. And also Fall River, our boys at Fall River. I
Oh.
picked up some of that Numb and Number juice. Oh my god, dude!
You got
the
the
double hazy.
The double. You went the
Yeah.
double. Okay. That. So the what's
Oh,
the
so good.
so what's the other one?
There's Num juice.
Num
the
Num
first,
juice,
yeah,
yeah.
that's the original. That's the single hazy.
Yeah, they're
And
both.
then-
I've had both,
Right.
but that one.
And then
is-
they do that nitro coffee stout that
Yes.
we like so much.
One of my dude. It's on tap at Bully's. If you're
tastes
you know,
like a goddamn car
dude,
bomb.
I drink it every time I go there. I just
It does.
I'll just do the fall.
You already know
There's
it,
no
you
there's
already
no
know
there's
it.
no point for me to look at the menu.
If you have it, why not?
I'm not ever gonna change. So we already talked about Washington, Oregon, how we watch the games. Let's jump into college football. Let's first go through
Such a good
1 through
weekend of
8.
football.
We're gonna go through 1 through 8 just to give
The preview. It's
the
going to
preview,
shake up, obviously.
and then we'll talk how we think it's gonna fall.
Real quick before we get into the rankings, as it is Saturday morning, it's big noon. Texas is rolling Oklahoma State. So
Rolling.
depending on what happens in the Alabama Georgia game, you never know. You never know.
Florida State, Louisville too.
Could be some chaos, but
We're-
let's go because we're getting into it.
Well, I mean, we were talking about it already. Georgia,
yeah.
number 1, playing Bama, who is number, 8. They're probably 7 now since Oregon lost. They should fall.
I still think
Right.
they're below Oregon. Yeah.
2 losses.
Well, if Alabama loses, they'll fall behind Oregon.
Yeah,
That's
it
true,
is.
too.
So it's true.
Until
But it does open up the opportunity for them, right?
Yeah, we'll get it. Yep.
We're going.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
What did you want to dive into?
No,
that?
you,
Just
you
wanna
might.
go through
Yeah,
it?
might as well just list out the 8 so we can see how
Yeah,
they
we're getting
fall.
it.
All right, so 2 Michigan,
Yep.
3 Washington,
Yep.
FSU, Florida State at number 4, and then
Which the FSU one is the curious one, right? That's such
And
a
that's-
curious.
I think that's the
ranking.
biggest topic when we jump into
when
the
we get to
4.
that. And then we have Ohio State and Texas, Alabama.
Yep. Yep. So to start there, how are your feelings on 6, 7, and 8? Do you think 6, 7, and 8 are good with Ohio State being in front of Texas and Bama, or are you guys good with those 3 that way to start off?
I find the rankings a little puzzling, but I feel like it doesn't really matter because after this week, it's going to clear up because they're going to have to make their decisions.
It's gonna have to be definitive, right?
So, and that's where it could get a little like weird if some of these games go a certain way, then how you have them ranked one ahead of the other.
Right. That's what. So you can't put Alabama in front of Texas because Texas went into Bama and won in Bama, right? So Texas always is going to stay in front of Bama, right? Like
Head to head should absolutely matter.
right? Like and Texas hasn't played a shitty schedule. They've still played. They didn't play a Michigan schedule or a Georgia schedule.
Right.
They played it. They went out and played Bama. You went out and played an off thing, right? Or out of conference game. Ohio State, dude. I have not been big on them all year. I think their defense plays well. I think their offense is middle of the road to poor.
It's flaky.
Both of
That
those
is a great call, Chuck.
Both of those teams, though, I think almost get that grandfathered in kind of
100%. The
favoritism.
Blue blood. Yep. The blue blood.
Like,
the
neither-
traditional programs.
One of these teams, I think, are probably worth getting into the playoff. I guess we'll see with the Georgia-Bama matchup. But I just feel like they're ranked higher than they really deserve to be.
Okay, so let's jump into. So last night Washington beats Oregon in a great game. It was epic. Finish to the Pac-12. Good job, Chuck.
It's
Pac-12
everything.
cheers.
It's everything that conference deserved over 100-year history, and that's how it closes out.
So that solidifies Washington at 3, at least for now. Michigan plays Indiana or Iowa. They're gonna blow the fuck out of
That
us.
should
So Michigan's
in theory
gonna
be, yeah.
So Michigan will stay 2 unless Georgia and Bama, right?
Yeah, that's the big what if.
Correct. So now let's talk about who sits at 4.
That could be another what
If
if.
Florida State goes
He's
in
a what if.
and wins
Right.
at Louisville, do they get to stay at 4 because they are undefeated? Because they no longer are technically one of the best teams in the nation anymore because you lost your starting quarterback, no matter what anybody says.
And
Jordan
also-
Travis is a stud.
Right.
and you lost him. He's
Their second stringer's questionable,
and
too.
he's not playing today either. If he
he isn't?
He's game
I
time
was
decision.
say it's questionable.
He's game time decision.
Right.
So they would have to turn to a freshman quarterback.
Wow.
So can you go into the
I think they could pull that off.
CFP though?
But if say they beat right, does the committee then put them in? But then you're gonna have a fucking them going up against a Georgia with no Jordan Travis.
Or a freshman quarterback in a college football playoff when you have Gwen Ewers and the Texas Longhorns who have been playing some of the better ball in the
They had one, and then their one loss was a hick. It was a tough
rival. It's a rival.
And
that's that you
yes,
know.
It was a
rivalry. That game was Oklahoma was top 10 throughout most of the season. So like
right.
You know, that's technically what you could call a quality loss. You know what I mean? But that ACC was a roller coaster. There were some good teams, but the bottom of the barrel was bad.
Because I think if Travis wouldn't have got hurt,
it's clear they
beat Duke when Duke was
Clemson.
ranked. They beat Clemson when Clemson was ranked in Clemson, and then they
beat LSU.
And they beat LSU. So that was good enough. But I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts with that?
I think the injury, it changes, how are you going to pick the teams for the playoff? Are we picking the 4 best teams? Are we picking the 4 most deserving teams? Because there's a difference.
100%.
Florida State is deserving.
Correct.
They are not one of the best teams without having that quarterback. He's not just a quarterback that runs their offense. He was a Heisman hopeful. He was
having a fucking
guys.
hell of a year.
Yeah, like that's huge. And I just feel like if the committee puts them in, we're just going to get one bad game right off the bat.
So all 3 of us agree that regardless of if they win, they should get jumped anyway.
Texas should jump them, I think.
I would
because Texas played Ohio State's stagnant. They don't have a game, right? So Ohio State is stuck.
Right.
Bama
They don't control anything. Yeah.
Bama beating Georgia. Maybe you could argue that Bama could jump all the way up to 4. But then do you not argue that Georgia falls?
Texas.
Right. Then can you not argue that Georgia just falls to 4?
Right. Agreed.
So
I don't know, man. I'm glad I'm not on the committee, dude. They're gonna have a tough road this year.
Yeah, this would have been a great season for that expansion to happen.
But this is the only time. This is the first season in
ever.
However long we've been doing
you
this.
could argue 8 teams were legitimately worthy.
Not 12.
Right. Still 8.
But there's still 8. 8 this year would have been fine. And maybe this is the way it's going to go with.
8 this year.
Maybe this is the way it's going to go from now here on out. Right. We get a bigger scope of better teams. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's NIL. Maybe it's transfer portal. Maybe it's all that. So I think we're all in agreement that we think Georgia, Michigan, Washington, and it's probably going to be Texas. Correct?
I think it should be based off of the 4 best teams because you can't put even Oregon. Honestly, is a fighter of a team, but with that second loss, there's no way, right? Yeah. So if Bama beats Georgia, though, then it's chaos.
Then
absolute chaos.
Then Michigan 1, Michigan 1,
Washington
2,
and then 3 and 4 could be.
It could be fucking Georgia at 4 still.
It could be Florida State if they win, that bumps up to 3, and then Georgia. Yeah, it could be really odd. It could be very odd.
Just really hoping we don't have 2 SEC schools in it.
I don't think it can happen.
I don't.
It shouldn't.
The percentages don't make sense on that one, right?
Because I can't see Alabama. Yes, if Alabama beats the fucking pants off of Georgia, okay, put them in. I don't think that's going to happen.
Right.
But if they did, okay, put them in. They get to jump to Texas at that point. If they don't beat, if I don't see Alabama being able to jump Texas, but I don't think Alabama's going to win against Georgia anyway. So,
I mean, here's hoping.
I'm hoping Florida State loses just to make it easy.
Yeah, I think also, Texas would be better viewing. It'd be a better matchup. It'd be better for the
Gwen Ewers is better than any quarterback healthy on the Florida State roster right now, and that's without a shadow of a doubt.
Yes.
Texas has a good team too.
They do.
They've been playing well. Stark's done a good job.
They went into Tuscaloosa and handed Bama their ass. It wasn't even like a close game. It was dominant.
The start of the fourth quarter was a Texas ass whooping.
Yeah, no, it's very surprising that there's lows. I think they should definitely be in front of Ohio State.
That's what I thought too. I did too.
Bit surprised we're pro Texas podcast today, but
just football. I want to be legit. I don't want to, and plus I'm already secure. So I get,
you good.
Yeah, I get to sit back and watch the madness happen.
So we talked about Jordan Travis being a Heisman hopeful. Let's talk about the 3 guys that are Heisman hopefuls. I think that comes out tomorrow. They announced the 3 or 4 people tomorrow, right?
The finalists?
Yeah, I think that comes out
Usually
tomorrow.
right after.
It's usually right after the thing. So obviously, we saw 2 of them last night, in Bo Nix and Michael Penix, and then the third one is Jaden Daniels from LSU.
It's got to be Jaden Moda. I know.
I think Bo Nix didn't necessarily lose the Heisman last night, but he didn't win the Heisman last night. And I think that Penix has kind of taken that third kind of spot and maybe jumped a little last night. But I think with Jaden's running and touchdowns, he had 50 fucking touchdowns.
Yeah.
I think it's a hard. It'd be hard not to vote for Jaden.
Yeah, statistics wise, he's got the numbers.
He's a premium athlete.
Penix is the only one that's on an undefeated team, though.
Yeah, but I mean, it's an individual award, not a team award. And I
Correct.
love the Huskies, and I think Michael Penix is a great quarterback, but it's clear that he's not been the best player in the nation.
Yeah, he just had those weeks where
he was okay. He did what he had to do.
Correct.
He won the games,
but he wasn't throwing for
he
5
wasn't electric.
touchdowns.
No, the Heisman goes to the most electrifying player in the nation, and that for sure was Daniels. Other than had Jordan Travis stayed healthy, he was right there too. He was just on that same trajectory, and then obviously Caleb kind of had a fall from grace because that team sucked. The team is what dragged him down.
And then,
so,
I mean, Bo,
that defense. Oof.
I think if Bo would have went in last night and Oregon gets a win and he has a little bit better numbers, maybe he secures the Heisman because he did have 40 touchdowns and 3 picks. That was his 80% completion.
No, I mean, he had an excellent year, but
I think last night's game solidified Jaden just by Bo not winning and not having he had 3 touchdowns and 200 yards.
I absolutely love that their only losses were to Washington and in a championship. God damn, that makes me happy. Now we just gotta have a pulse against the rest of the nation, right? Like we cannot come out here and look like duds in the CFP because our one and only swing at the opportunity.
Jake Browning got
crushed. Yeah, it was awful. Got mushed by Saban and Alabama on their way to their chip.
So we agree on the top 4 and we agree on the fucking Heisman
so far.
That sucks, man. We need some more confrontation. Let's talk about
let's jump
into the football, I'm sure, later.
Oh, yeah.
Let's jump into the transfer portal team on.
And it's everywhere right now.
And it's big names again, dude. I don't know if I like this or not.
So, yeah, I wrote down a couple notable names. Just quarterbacks. I mean, there's a lot of players. There's a lot of quarterbacks. But some of the ones that kind of popped, we got quite a few juniors here. We got Riley Leonard from Duke.
He's coming to UW.
I've been saying that.
I'm trying to put that in existence. Manifesting that. I think that he would be a great fit in our offense.
He's going to Texas A&M.
I think so. They lost theirs. He's another transfer portal, Max Johnson.
Yeah, he's following his coach.
Probably.
Elko, or how do you say his name? Elko? It's spelled like Elko, but is that how you?
I don't know, to be fair.
He's
sorry, whoever the coach is out there.
He's following the Duke coach.
Win some games.
Yeah, he's following the Duke coach. That's where he's going. He's going to Texas A&M.
All right. Yeah, coaching carousel what we talked about as well, but let's keep going with the quarterbacks.
So redshirt junior DJ Uiagalelei from Oregon State. He could declare for the draft, but he's probably
his stock is not where he wants it to be.
Yeah, he's got to work on some things.
He's got prototypical size. That's why he was originally, recruited to go to Clemson. That's where he was, trying to make his mark. And obviously, Dabo,
maybe he's going to Michigan State to follow his coach.
Maybe.
What a weird. Getting out of Oregon State, considering that they're losing their Power 5, makes sense. It does make sense. But I don't know if he's going to really attract the Michigans, Ohio State. I don't think he did enough this year to pyramid up. I think he's going to sidestep to somebody like a Michigan State or once again, that's a good program. I don't want to shit on Spartans. They have a good history, but they're not the blue blood of the Big Ten right now. It's not a Michigan, Ohio State. I think he's just going to sidestep.
We also have who was the number 2 prospect, a freshman, Dante Moore from UCLA. He was expecting, I guess, more playing time, so he's transferring to.
Hasn't made a decision. He's just in the portal.
Yeah, he's in the portal.
This NIL is going to shake up the portal big time. Money talks, y'all. Money talks.
A quarterback spot.
Yeah. Whoever's going to pay whatever boosters step up the quickest and the best, it's going to secure themselves some players.
Well, Matt Rule had a coach in Nebraska. He had an interesting comment this week that somebody asked him, "Are you guys going to try to go out in the portal and get a quarterback?" And he says, "Quarterbacks in the portal go for $1 to $2 million. So it's hard to go get a guy for 1 year and pay him $1 to $2 million in the NIL." And that was his comment. He says, "I'd rather like to build my team and But he made that comment this week that quarterbacks go for about $1 to $2 million in the portal.
You gotta have them boosters. You gotta have somebody who's got your back. Because where's that coming from, right? Like
it's
the
not
coaching
coming from the school.
It ain't coming from the coach's wallet. I'll tell you that much.
And then who else we got team on?
Also wrote down redshirt junior Tyler Van Dyke from Miami.
Yeah, he could, right? He could be somebody somewhere.
I thought so. They
definitely regressed this year.
He reminds me of Ewers sometimes, where he looks like he's a stud and then comes out the next game, but he's not as talented as Ewers. He's nowhere near like as talented as Ewers, but he's very streaky like Ewers.
Another quarterback that I want to throw out there, 3-year starter, redshirt senior quarterback, KJ Jefferson from Arkansas, also put his name in the portal.
Did he get 1 more year of eligibility then? If he's a redshirt senior, I mean,
he's got another year. It's all part of, I think, still part of that COVID.
Yep.
Thing.
Hey man, if he's gonna use the system the way that they have the rules written, and he wants to play 1 more year, and you sure?
Well, and I think it's good for him. His situation isn't as much, I feel like, an NIL grab as a lot of these guys will be, but he was going on his 3rd OC for that program. Arkansas has had some turmoil.
Sure, they have for
13 out of 14 in the SEC.
They have for a long while. Arkansas has not been the team that they've wanted to be.
And early on in his career, he did put up some decent numbers. So I think he could be a solid quarterback for a team that needs him.
Well,
some other names?
No, I think kid for NC State.
There's definitely one more. Cam Ward. He's leaving Washington State, which is the best decision of his life. They were saying though, to exactly Downey's point, I heard it's going to cost $1 to $2 million to get him. He's already got 10 offers of at least $1 million across the nation. So he just essentially gets to pick his coaching staff and where he wants to go.
These guys
anything's an upgrade from fucking Pullman, Washington. Let me tell you that goddamn much. He's gonna be real happy wherever that dude. That is not a fucking nice. It's a quaint little city, but it's a college town. It's but upgrade.
We've mentioned some of the coaches already kind of moving with how the quarterbacks are moving, like with Texas A&M hiring the Duke coach. So Trev, what other kind of coaching carousel stuff we got going?
There's coaches flying. UNR just fired their coach for local news, I guess.
Yeah, we'll hit that in the old fandom.
Okay. We'll foreshadow.
So San Diego State hires Sean Lewis, OC from Colorado, who kind of lost his play calling duties halfway through the season.
Kind of stupid.
Yeah, I thought he did. He was the former head coach at Kent State and did a really good job. So I think that's a good hire for San Diego State.
I do too.
The one that caught all the headlines, though, Paterno.
Going back to Arkansas once again, dude.
OC.
No wonder why that kid wanted out, man. Petrino, right?
Petrino's always had good offense, so everywhere he's been, he's usually had a pretty good offense.
See, exactly. So you're making the argument for him that got him the job again. Well, he can.
if you got talent or you're good,
the leash is long when you're successful.
I still didn't think that he was rehirable. Let's just say it that way. With all the shit,
I don't disagree with that. Why would you want to bring all that negative energy and attention back to your program? For wins, is it? I mean, I know winning does cure all, but man, that's a tough move.
What other coaches are moving on? Tremont.
A couple others that I wrote down. Jonathan Smith from Oregon State going to Michigan State.
That bummed me out.
Yeah, Oregon State's been nice. But I mean, both of those programs getting stuck.
Bums me out, but it does bum me out because you're getting left out, and then your coach just fucking bounces.
Yep.
And that's why I think that DJ's going that way too.
I can't blame anybody who went from a Power 5 school.
I can't either.
I'm out of there. If I can stay, if my career path allows me to go to a school that's still in a Power 5 conference, or
I'm not hating on the guy. It just bummed me out.
I understand that too. You don't also just want to see a free fall in the program. But.
So Washington's State and Oregon State have kind of been scrambling. They're going to play a majority, I think, of Mountain West teams.
I think
but
five Mountain West and 5
Power
Big
Five. Right.
And then replacing him would be their defensive coordinator, Trent Brady. And then, yeah, that's all I wrote down for coaching carousel.
Yeah, it's been kind of crazy, and
well, it's
USC
crazy because
just hired
it's the time of it right now. Like,
Yeah.
normally you don't see this until, well, I guess you do see some hires sometimes of, like, coordinators, like,
Yeah, 'cause
after this bowl game, they're going to so-and-so.
100%. USC hired the defensive coordinator from UCLA.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't have to move.
Nope. Stays in the same city.
It doesn't seem like they really searched real hard.
Yeah, no, hey, how about you?
Who's
bro?
over there?
Hey, you want to come over to this side? You want to wear red instead of blue?
I know. What the fuck? Chuck, why don't we jump in a little CCBB?
Dude, right? Yeah, shout out. Good, thank you, Downey. I appreciate that. I just want to roll into, it's a really good time of year for college athletics in general as the college basketball scene is back on. And to be fair, you know where the headlines actually are? In the ladies. College basketball, this whole Angel Reese and LSU. We're not going to dive into that necessarily, but I want to give a shout out just to college basketball in general, just because it's a great sport. It's a wonderful, March Madness is my favorite tournament of all time, for sure. We're going to do brackets later in the season, but that's kind of how we opened the pod. Our first handful of pods were so a little nostalgic right
I
there.
have a hard time with college basketball anymore
Okay.
until March Madness because of the one and done.
Because
There's just
we've talked about this before.
You can't just fall in love with these players. There's nobody to watch. Oh,
Very,
that guy's
very
in, then he's out. This
Right.
guy's in, this guy's out.
It's the name on the front of the
Yes.
jersey, not the back when it comes to college.
And I do like following teams and watching them grow. Like, it was fun before the one and done was like watching some of those Duke teams and those other teams mature through years and stuff.
I'll tell you what though, I bet you start seeing less one and dones because of the
I hope so.
NIL and they're like, hey, if you stay in college, you can still make some money.
But
You're not going pro.
Some of these guys are one and done. They're not even going to school that we end up finding.
Oh heck no! Yeah, they're averaging
saying?
fucking 0.6, in the classroom
Correct.
or some shit. The sham of student athlete has been kind of revealed,
And they don't need to do that anymore either.
But I guess we sidebarred good on this one, but just shout out to college basketball being back, man. It is a great game as far as strategy wise and speed of the game and it. Oh, excuse me. They're doing challenges. They always do challenges at the start of the season. They don't duck anybody.
No.
ACC plays SEC. Big Ten plays Pac-12. They go out and they play each other hard, and it's a fun watch. And then March Madness comes together, and then you don't know half the teams, and you take a guess, and you hope that you're right.
Let's go from one basketball to the next. Trev, what do we got with the
NBA?
NBA tourney that's happening? So it's the second round,
Yeah,
right?
in-season tourney. We got the top 8 teams. Starts on Monday. Monday, 4:30 West Coast time. Opens up with Pacers and Celtics. Do we have a lean that way?
Oh, Celtics.
Everybody's
But
on Celtics.
I mean, if it's only one game, so you
Can't even happen in a game. It's not like a
Is
series.
it one game? Is it just a knockout?
Yeah.
Is it just one game knockout?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Celtics. And good. I like a little sense of urgency. This is the game. We're not. It's not a series. You don't get a fallback. You don't get a mistake. You got to come out and just run the gamut.
Yep.
Celtics though. Pacers. Look. In a one game,
It can
anything
happen.
can happen for sure.
It's
That
like
is the
March
electric
Madness.
part. Exactly. That's the best part about it. But I would absolutely lean if I was going to put money on it on the Celtics.
I would too.
Then they're doing 2 games on Monday. The second game is going to be Kings and Pelicans.
Ooh, interesting matchups.
Yeah.
The Pels have actually been playing well. Ingram is balling. Is Zion still on the court? He's still playing? I know he was having some sort of they held him out for privacy issues or family issues or personal issues or some shit a while ago.
Still playing, but then I don't know, when you look at that roster though, when you see Brandon Ingram, Zion, and then you see CJ McCollum,
yeah.
dude, they should be able to score with anybody. Just whether or not that team plays defense and stays healthy.
Sure. So I like that matchup.
Who do you like that game?
I don't know. I don't watch
the
enough.
Kings have kind of slumped. No,
I do too.
they're not.
I think I would rather take the Pelicans at this point in time because I think the Pelicans are doing this, like Chuck said, and the Kings are doing this.
I would agree. That's more or less what my assessment was going to be.
I'm just going to say what we just talked about is the Pels are healthy, and right now I think that this kind of just is going their way.
I do too.
Good.
All right.
We're agreeing too much. This is the agreeable pod.
That's what you can title it. Next, it comes Tuesday. Next day, we got another 2 games. First one at 4:30 again. It starts Bucks Knicks.
God, Brunson's fucking on fire, dude.
He is, dude. That kid plays well above what I ever thought he would.
Could you imagine if Julius Randle could put games together?
No
and
shit.
not
If they could
fall off the map?
if they could 1-2 and be legit all stars and score superstars,
he's a fucking streaky dude too. He's either
Oh my
super high or he's super low. He doesn't ever there's no middle ground with Julius Randle.
Right. He should be putting up 20-10. Homeboy should be out there.
Dude, he's
20-10
super athletic
game.
and his
Easy.
offensive game should be
Yeah,
good. But I it's hard not to just. I'm never not gonna say Bucks. They're kind of like my Eastern team. They're still like my Eastern Conference team. I've just fallen in love with Giannis, and then Dame's always been a dude to watch. So it's hard for me never to.
That roster is still built, dude. It's a fucking great roster.
I'm a Bucks dude.
What about you? You Bucks too?
I have to be because of if
one game.
If Julius Randle was more consistent going into things like this, and then you could lean and say, okay, they have the 1-2 punch to match the 1-2 punch of Milwaukee, but I think that Dame is far superior.
Yep.
Well, not far. I don't know.
Not far.
Let me back that up.
Yeah.
Because Brunson has been balling
all year.
Not only this, but last year too.
Yes.
He's been ascending. The guy needs to get more media attention. To be fair, it's crazy that he doesn't, especially in a market like New York. But balling. So not to say that Dame isn't a thug, but I don't want to discredit Jalen. But the point was that Giannis is far fucking superior to Julius Randle as far as a 1-2 punch, and you're not stopping him. He's giving you 30 and 10 almost a night. He's like the most humble dude. Yeah. Shout out to Giannis.
And the last game, later that night, we got Lakers Suns.
I'll just take the Lakers.
They have so far beaten they've done what they needed to beat the Suns. Now, granted that they weren't healthy. I remember Booker was sitting.
That's
their first matchup.
Are you ever gonna see a fucking healthy Suns? Beal's hurt, Booker's hurt, Durant's hurt, somebody else is fucking hurt.
Your mama's hurt, your daddy's hurt.
It's just like, man, it's like if Booker's in, Beal's not in. If Beal's in, Booker's not in.
It's a carousel over there. They have not had all four on the court once, even?
No.
Maybe? Have they? No?
I don't know. And then,
I don't know, yeah.
And then with the Lakers, they just still not shooting the three enough, or shooting the three well enough to be, they need to be a better three-point shooting team, and they're not shooting the three well enough.
Well, the concern with LA for multiple years has been a lack of shooting.
And it's didn't get in it. I thought Gabe Vincent would be better. He's not been better.
Bummer.
Reeves has kind of been up and
Stagnant,
down this year.
yeah.
He's so, and then.
Hasn't quite come together yet.
Yeah, I mean, Rui's playing well, and Davis has his games where he had 19 in the first half the other day, and it's just like, okay, where's that every game? LeBron is playing out of his mind offensively. I mean, he's getting old, so there's not a whole lot of defense there, but Lakers have been playing well, I think, defensively. I think one of the big signings, I think, has been Cam Reddish. I think he's been actually playing. He's been playing
well
better.
From what I've seen,
He's been playing better than and I thought Vincent was going to be a home run hit.
Although 100% shout out to it, just single elimination. Get
Correct.
to an NBA. I can get behind that.
Do you like the Lakers as well, Chuck? Or you
No,
like the Suns?
I know the Lakers have beaten them actually consistently through the year so far. I think they've played 4 times and they're 3-1 against them. But I just think money is the ultimate motivator, and the idea of getting something that LeBron James doesn't have is something that might motivate Kevin Durant. He's kind of a little puss and he needs some extra motivation to get over the hill, but this could be it. I hate to say that, he won Rookie of the Year the last year the Sonics were in Seattle, and he was my boy. But we all agree. I know he's not on your shit list. We've talked about this on the pod because he obviously won 2 Finals MVPs and brought a lot of rich history to your history. But he was a great player for the Warriors, but he's a shit lister for me.
He was one of my favorite players to watch, and then the whole dummy.
He's a shit lister for me.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I love watching him as a player, but the person, I'm
Not the best.
Not
Okay,
crazy
now
about. Let's just put it that way.
So we got just a wee bit of MLB we want to cover.
Yeah. So hey, everybody, keep your eye out. There's been some movement. A little bit of trades happening here and there. Chuck's team, I think, made a nice little trade the other day.
With the Suarez trade?
Yep.
Okay, you like that?
It's not bad.
I know that he was getting a little older, but
Yep.
you know.
It's not bad.
We got a couple of prospects, a couple of pitching prospects.
And then I think that keep your eye out. The Ohtani talks have started. So
That's
a big
the big fish for
Soto
sure.
being traded is a huge fish that's going to happen.
You think?
And both of your guys' teams are on everybody's fucking list, except you've lost out on Ohtani because of your stadium. He wants to play in a stadium you can put up big numbers in.
Why can't you put up big numbers?
Because the ball doesn't fly in San Francisco like it does in other stadiums.
All that thick smug in the air.
All right.
But Soto's still up. Soto's still up in the air for a lot of teams. One team,
He
Chuck.
kind of took a step back.
He has
in
not
the
played well for
Padres.
the Padres.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Blake Snell has come out and said that he wants to play in
He'd
his
like to come out to
hometown.
Seattle, yeah.
He wants to play in
That'd
his
be nice.
hometown.
That'd
So
be nice.
keep
So
your
the Pods are. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you
Yeah.
off, but the Pods are trying to kind of salary dump, right? Is what you're saying? Like all of these guys, they're like these are high value guys, especially as far as money.
They went out and tried to build a super team.
And they
super
couldn't.
team.
And they
It didn't
failed
work.
so hard.
It didn't work. I mean,
The Diamondbacks made the World Series. The Padres
Didn't
didn't
make
even
the
make the
playoffs.
playoffs. Exactly.
so keep your eye out for all the free agent stuff. It's going to get hot. The numbers for Ohtani have already been talked about that maybe he does get in the 500 million range, even though his shoulder's hurt because of a bidding war that's going to
Such a
happen.
commitment.
Also, there's a kid coming over from Japan.
That pitcher, yes.
And he is super sought after too as well.
I cannot pronounce his name.
No,
but
I'm not even
about
gonna
to
fucking try. I'm not gonna fucking try. So keep your eye out for all the baseball stuff because it's going to get hot and it's going to get hot quick.
Hot quick.
Because once one name goes,
Once domino.
especially once Ohtani leaves the market, when teams know that they don't have the shot, or they now that
The
500
golden
million
goose
is
is
off,
off. Yeah.
then okay, we can go get him. Let's go get that guy. That's
Start making
yeah.
smaller deals, kind of thing,
Yeah.
because
So-
you don't have to.
Yeah,
you
once
don't have to
Ohtani
hold-
is signed by somebody,
Right.
whether Trout gets traded or Soto gets traded, they've all been talked about. Trout's been rumored to be traded to the Phillies. He's
Yeah,
from the
he
East
wants
Coast.
to go and win. Well, he wants to win. He wants to be in the playoffs. He's he's a generational talent. He's one of the best players we've ever seen, and he's won one playoff game, right, or some shit like that.
No.
None. Yeah,
Good
I mean, come on, that's
He's
tough.
been in one playoff.
There you go. So that's tough, man. Homeboy deserves to be on.
No, he's won 0 series.
Okay.
He's been in 1 series.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe he has
One
game.
that's what I'm saying. Okay, all right. So that
0 series.
Well, so coming up, second segment, we're going to do 5 storylines of the NFL from our view as to what we kind of are seeing and what we're hoping for and the direction. It's been a fun, interesting, very odd year.
Yeah,
Very
5
odd year.
storylines of what we see going forward, and 5 storylines that maybe are happening at this point in time.
Yep.
See
Right,
it after
second
break.
beer.
And we're gonna have a new beer.
And we're going to have that nice
Fucking
latte
delicious.
beer.
Delicious.
See you soon.
All right.
Welcome back to Balls and Brews. Cheers, boys. Dude, look at the color of this
Cheers.
fucking beer, dude.
So excited.
Smell it. Oh my god.
Oh my god, it's everything I want in a beer. That's so fucking good.
Ooh.
What are we drinking, Chuck? Tell the crowd.
Tell the peoples, the good peoples, Mother Earth, y'all. We've had a couple of their beers before, out of Vista, California. Pretty basic can. I love the old school like cow van on it because it's called a milk truck nitro stout. It's a latte stout actually. Sorry, so it's very heavy on the coffee, which is funny that I enjoy it because I don't like coffee. But in this application, it's fucking delicious, dude. Do you guys also get that like chocolate?
Yes.
Right? I definitely get some chocolate.
It smells fucking delicious. If you just smell it, it smells like everything we just talked about.
Mouthfeel, like it?
And it is an amazing drink. It is an amazing drink. So nitro, it's what you want with the nitro stouts. It looks like if you're about to eat this fucking beer by the color and how but when you go
Frothy.
to drink it, dude, it is just
5.8.
so easy on.
So smooth.
Yes.
5.8. So I mean, reasonable, right about like
That's about what you
a
want.
stout.
Right,
Yeah,
like,
sure.
right
sure.
there, that like higher 5s, low 6.
Yeah, perfect. Because that mango card is nice, but at 4%, you gotta drink a lot of those things.
It's just that's just a chilling You're not getting drunk when you're
But so they're out of Vista, California. I don't know if I just said that, but that's basically San Diego. And shout out to this brewery because I've had like 3 or 4 of their beers now, and they're all top shelf. They're all like very good, right?
Yeah, this is fucking killer.
Yeah, so check it out. Instagram, X, it'll be up with the other beer that we drank today. Heavily recommended. Where did you said Total Wine?
I picked this up at Total Wine.
And shout out real quick to them, as I feel like they have swung back into better inventory. Correct. I think that they're sourcing better beers. Specifically, I know it's Total Wine and more, and they do liquor very well.
The whiskey section is.
Has it fallen off now?
No, it's top shelf.
I was gonna say at one point it was amazing.
I think that I'm a personal fan. I kind of fell off the Total Wine thing for a while, just like you said, the selection was good, and then I just fell in love with Lee's. I fell in love with the whiskey section of Lee's. I fell in love with. I like their beer section. They have all the cooler ones, but then they have rows of just bombers, of different bombers too. So I think I'm more of a Lee's discount than a Total Wine guy if I'm going to one of those two. Let's jump right into NFL. 5 storylines, and they're probably not going to be 5.
So we talked off pod, right? And we pretty much round robined what all of our ideas were, and they're pretty much the same. So we're just going to give the narratives that interest all of us the most.
Correct. Chuck, why don't you throw out the first one?
So number 1 I wrote down as I was picking my brain for where I really like. There's a lot of different ways you could go. The first one I kind of want to note on is that over this last year, the running backs were heavily devalued in contract, in years, and money, and all sorts of shit. They were a huge storyline going into this year, and it now kind of matches with the theory of what they were leaning into, because there isn't a dominant running back right now. Like Christian McCaffrey is insane. Yeah, he's probably the best thing that we got going as far as like, you know, pure athleticism, do it all, 3 down back. But even he isn't setting these, like, I don't know, I'm thinking of Adrian Peterson. I'm thinking of like Marshawn Lynch in his prime. I'm thinking
Derrick Henry.
D. Henry just a couple years ago. Chris Johnson when he was fucking 2,000 yards.
Josh Jacobs was dominant last year.
Right, correct. He had 1,800 yards. Like, CMC's getting in the end zone quite a bit, but his yardage is fair.
Is that also, though, I know that I totally agree with the whole statement, but do you think that's a little bit more because we're throwing the ball around the yard more?
Yeah, and I think that's where he has a lot of those stats too. Like we're talking Marshall Falk could have 1,000 receiving, 1,000 rushing.
1,000. CMC already did that with the Panthers a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not to say that he can't. He is him for sure, if you will. Like he is the number one that as far as. But even I guess the point is behind him. Dalvin Cook, nowhere. Derrick Henry, not very good. Josh Jacobs definitely regressed. Like
he's been better since Antonio.
That Achane kid was amazing for 3 weeks. Mostert's had a good year, but he's still not, like the dude.
Yeah.
Like if you go down the list, there's just not that guy this year.
Part of it, I think, though, is because of the
strategic
you throw the ball more.
It's a quarterback's league at this point, which 100%. Is why they're devalued. Although, having the guy in the backfield that can run that swing route, run the wheel route, run the out and in, run them all, like that is a huge advantage, though, right? Like, so I don't know. I value a running back. Pete Carroll, obviously, and the Seahawks value running backs. We've drafted 2 in the last 2 years in the second round. So I want that to happen. To be healthy. We'll get into the Seahawks later. Anyway, so that was my first topic.
Go ahead, T.
All right. For my topic, I want to see the Broncos and the Texans in the playoffs.
Both of them.
Yes, I think there's a way this happens. I don't think this is the year for Cleveland.
They play tomorrow against each other.
Yes, and I mean that could knock one of them out. I think at least one of them's getting in, but I'd like to see them both.
Okay.
I think the Browns I think they're gonna fall. I'm not believing in this Joe Flacco Browns team.
What is that? That's desperation. That's grasping at straws.
Dude, PJ's hurt and fucking
DTR. You're down 3 quarterbacks.
And I mean, with Burrow injured and the Bills not being too great this season, those are the teams I'd rather see.
Sean McDermott was on my top 5 hot seat coaches at the beginning of the year. Him and Bill. Both of them should be.
Wow. Call back.
My top one was going to be quarterback hurt, but I want to have another one. My top one is the Pats way does not exist. That was the Tom Brady way.
I definitely wrote down Belichick is awful, so that was one of the storylines that we definitely crossed over.
And you know, yes, he won a lot. He won early with Tom before Tom was the GOAT, but the Patriot way does not work. It didn't work in Vegas. It didn't work in the Tech. It didn't work in Houston.
Tom made it work.
It
now
didn't work.
Tom's gone, and it's been horrible.
It doesn't work in Detroit. It didn't work in Vegas. It didn't work wherever all these coaches went. They tried to employ
was terrible as a head coach.
Well, he tried to employ the Patriot way, trying to be an asshole, trying to do, no connections. That's not the way it works. It was the Tom Brady way. TV12 was a dude that ends up looking like the one that was taking the
he goes to another team, gets a chip right off in the
And the Patriots have slowly declined every year.
This year was falling off a cliff. This year, they're in running for the number 1 overall pick.
Their roster was bad when we talked about it at the beginning of the year.
True.
The years with Tom, that roster was never great. And Tom did something else that I think that he doesn't get enough credit for. And I
can't.
Yes. Never the number 1 paid person.
Right.
Never the number 1 paid quarterback, even though he is the greatest to play that position. And that's coming from a person that he ripped my heart out. And I was way more of a Peyton guy. So if you're a Peyton guy, you can't be a Tom guy.
Right.
So, but he's the greatest to do it. Look what he did. Look for how long he did it at that level. And now all of a sudden he's gone. There is no Pats way. It fucking sucks. Fuck you guys. Fucking hate the Patriots.
Well, you don't like Boston sports in general. We've been over this a few times. But I mean, that is. It's evident now, right? There's you can't put Pat back in the bag,
And he is GM and coach, so the GM part has fucked the coach part. He can't sign anybody. He can't do anything.
Well, he throws out these. When he does get money, he makes these crazy deals with Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry.
I thought it was deals too.
It looked like a good look at the time.
You had no quarterback to throw the ball. You had no offense line. You had no offensive coordinator.
Yeah, that was the big, what are you doing?
That's a big whiff. That's a big whiff.
Gosh, everybody gives Belichick a hard time for his GMing, but coaching, making decisions like that, what he's done with Mac Jones, it's a mess. If I was that owner of the team, I'd fire him, I wouldn't hire him.
Mutually part ways.
Sure, that's how
it's got to end clean.
That's what it's going to say.
It has to end clean.
Or they're going to trade him.
I mean, I know Belichick doesn't want to go out like this season. I mean, is there any chance the equity that he's built up that they bring him back?
I think the Bass are so bad. I think the years are so bad. I don't know how you can't.
Right.
I think you got
the press. Oh my God! You want to talk? They would be relentless, dude. There's no way.
You're gonna go after fucking either Gerard Mayo for your linebacker coach, or how much money are you gonna throw up for Abel?
Yeah, those definitely have
wouldn't you have to trade for him?
I don't know how the coaching works. I don't know if you have to trade for, if you can just or they can, or how you get a coach away from. I don't know how.
It depends on how many years they have on their contract. If they're under contract with that team for another year, do you have to? You can't trade for them. They gave up a first-round pick to get Sean Payton away from the Saints, who was retired.
Well, yeah, and the Raiders traded. Remember, Raiders traded John Gruden.
Right. So exactly, it's a trade. But I think it's only picks. I don't think you can do players for coaches.
No, it's only picks. It's only picks. So that's the rumor with the Redskins. The Redskins are going to try to trade for Belichick. So
the Commanders.
It's
been a couple episodes since you've
still Redskins to me.
I read, once again, talking about reading articles. I did read an article that there were certain Native American groups that were suing the Commanders because they said that actually the representation of the logo was an actual war chief of theirs, and they thought it was supporting the imagery of it and derogating it.
I don't know.
The Redskins is a tough name. Let's stick with that.
More the name than the symbol.
I would say so.
Yeah. Chuck, what's another topic? We hit Pats, we hit running backs.
Belichick is awful. All right, so I want to throw this in here just because he got his OC fired earlier in the year, and they're not. This is a storyline. They're not at the top of the AFC the way the Bills should be. Has Josh Allen hit his ceiling? Is this what he is? He's great, and he can do a lot of things on the football field, but man, sometimes he just has these brain farts and throws these bad picks, or he thinks he's Superman and then he fumbles when he's trying to do too much. You gotta know when to get down, gotta know when to hold him and know when to fold him.
I think that he's still top 3 quarterback in the league.
Do you still think he has growth room?
He's one of the most talented. The offensive line has not been good for the Sean McDermott era, and I think that Josh makes it look better.
Sure.
He makes the running game look better. Cook has had an okay year. They have never been able to run the fucking football. How in the fuck can you not run the football with your quarterback as Josh Allen? Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league, no doubt. Josh Allen is the most talented quarterback in the league with size, arm strength, and the way he can move.
Right, but how do you unlock more? How do you get more out of him?
I think you got to give him help. I don't think the offensive play calling has been good. Dorsey was not a good play caller, and we saw that last year. This year, defense got hurt. The defense is beat up, so they lost games. So it's easy to fire the offensive coordinator.
Gotta have a fall guy.
Right? It's not the head coach is calling defense.
Gotta have a fall guy. Yeah.
Right? Sean McDermott should be out. He is not built an offensive line, and he's not good running. Yes, he has Diggs, and Kincaid's came on. Gabe Davis is not what we thought ever. And so when he got Diggs, we saw his numbers climb.
Right. Right.
We never got another person other than Diggs.
Okay.
They have never ever had another weapon. Like Kincaid's good. Like I think he's upcoming, but Gabe Davis has been he's had a game here and there. I mean, you took him pretty high in fantasy a couple years ago because of what he did, right?
Yeah.
And then, and then just have a good year. So Josh is, I think, and then Josh doesn't have a play caller like Andy Reid, like Patrick does too. So I think Josh is covers up a lot of the Bills' deficiencies with how good he is, and I think it's the Bills who are wasting Josh Allen and not getting people around him and not getting once they lost Dayball, you've seen it, and it's been the play calling, but it's
Yeah, and we'll see where that goes, because I do agree a lot with you that I think he has the most potential at that position, and it's been kind of squandered. Losing Dayball really did hurt them. They have Joe Brady.
Yeah. And it seems the offense seems better the last couple of games.
I'm hoping. I like him since he was coaching Joe Burrow at LSU, and that offense was explosive in college. And I mean they just need the players. Like you're saying, how does Buffalo not have a ground game in that weather in that stadium? You have to have that.
For years though, it's not this year.
It's been the entire Josh Allen era, and then a little bit beforehand too.
Right.
LaShawn McCoy was the last decent running back that the Buffalo Bills had, and that was 5-6 years ago.
That was the Rex Ryan era, wasn't it? That was Rex. I think that was Sexy Rexy, baby.
Sexy Rexy, baby.
But no, and I'm probably the biggest Josh Allen guy on this pod. I'm a huge Josh Allen guy.
Yeah.
But that's
kind of why I wanted to bring the topic in, because I knew that you would have,
It just, I read a ton of articles about shit. I read one about that's where I got the Buffalo Bills are wasting Josh Allen. You were literally, and I think this is a bigger topic. I think this is maybe another topic.
Sidebar.
Defensive head coaches are not winning in the league.
Not currently, not the way they want to.
They're not building, and you look at Tomlin. Tomlin's a great defense, right? I love Tomlin. I wish he was a Raiders coach. He hasn't had an offensive line in years, right?
It's true.
It's gotten a little bit better.
But it's not been great.
When the bar's this low and you only got to go to here to be better.
Right. You got Sean McDermott. We've seen such a decline since Dayball's left. Never had an offensive line. These defensive coaches, Matt Eberflus. All these defensive coaches, Pete's even having trouble right now. His team's just not healthy. You guys got hurt in the middle of the season.
Yeah, I know. But to be fair, no, it's true. Ever since our peak, we've been just kind of a little up, down. Nothing extremely relevant. We haven't gone past the wild card since I think 2013.
Yeah, and I just think that if you look at we don't have we're we're not going to do it today. If you went through every fucking team and put offensive coaches and defensive coaches in a list,
except for goddamn Brandon Staley, fire that guy.
The offensive coaches, he's a defensive guy.
Yeah,
and he calls their defense.
Another guy that's probably wasting the quarterback too.
Oh my God, Justin Herbert, free Justin Herbert.
You would literally have all the offensive dudes would have winning records, and all the defensive dudes have losing records. It is insane.
So then, why are GMs still so interested in the defensive-minded head coach? Because if they're still getting jobs, like the one thing that kind of sucks about the NFL too, when it comes to those positions, is it feels like it's just this fraternity of the same. They just rotate the same dudes more often than not. Very rarely do you get fresh blood.
Well, that's why it's so refreshing to see Shane Steichen just fucking killing it in the Colts. Think if that team quarterback didn't get hurt, they're like fighting. That team is a fighting team. The only defense coach that is doing good, I think, is Texans.
Oh.
He's doing a really great job.
Marco Murray, your boy.
Yeah, and I think defensive coaches, it's not that they don't work, it's just the situation should be right. And I mean, I think it's a lot easier to have a defensive coach as your head coach if you already have an established quarterback. But I mean,
that's 100%.
Proving it wrong for the Texans, though, that just sometimes you just find the guy that works. Like, I mean, Tomlin is kind of that guy too.
CJ is he's a hands down rookie of the year. Where do you really think he falls? Sidebar. Where do you think he evolves in the MVP race?
He's got to be up there. MVP right now.
Who is the MVP of the league? This is something I want to hear from you guys. Get down in the comments and tell us who the hell the MVP of the NFL is.
You could argue CMC, you could argue Myles Garrett, you could even argue Max Crosby. You could argue more defensive players this year than you could offensive players.
Which is crazy, right? Because once again, there is no quarterback that's the dude right now. That's putting up superior numbers, right?
I mean, Dak's been playing pretty
he
well.
Has been, yes.
Which, shout out to Mike McCarthy. Some of his situational stuff isn't good.
Thanks for throwing it on 3rd and 8. We just didn't convert, with the time that we had. That was a great play call. I love that. Yeah, throw a fade. Absolutely.
Like shit like that. But if you look at his numbers with Aaron and his numbers with Brett at the end of Brett's career at Green Bay, and you look at him with Dak.
He was there that far back? He was with Favre?
He had Favre at the end of Favre, and then he had Aaron. If you look at their numbers, even Aaron from Mike McCarthy to Matt LaFleur,
right?
Aaron's numbers with Mike McCarthy were way better than they were with Matt LaFleur. I think Mike McCarthy.
I don't know. He won 2 fucking MVPs with LaFleur.
I know, but his numbers, there's a different. If you look at the numbers, his numbers are pretty damn good with McCarthy.
I'm not saying they weren't, but he won 2 MVPs with LaFleur, and I feel like you have to statistically be sound to make that happen.
Yeah, he just was losing to Tom Brady and Peyton Manning those other years.
He was still that guy.
Yeah.
And, I mean, since you bring up Aaron Rodgers, I mean, come back for the year already.
Yeah, here we go.
why would you come back?
You shouldn't.
Why? You're going to blow it again? You're going to tear something else?
I think he just wants to prove that he can.
And that, to be fair, based off of what my perception of his personality, I don't know the man, I can't really, but it seems like that is such an Aaron Rodgers thing to do. Like, I came back in like 8 weeks, bro. I came back from an Achilles 8 weeks. It's a little bit more than that.
He's 40 years.
That's brutal. I couldn't do it. I'd still be in a boot. I wouldn't even be walking around, much less trying to get on an NFL field next fucking week. Because they opened up his IR window. He's got 21 days to officially make the roster. Otherwise, the season is over. So do you think it's just a publicity stunt, or do you think he's gonna fucking play?
Well, Aaron's gonna like it either way.
Right. He loves the spotlight.
I think
it's why he didn't mind going to New York.
I think people should really sit down with him and tell him, dude, the season's over.
Sit down. Done. You know you're QB1 next year. You know it.
Correct.
You know it. Get right. Get healthy. Get your mind. Get your chickens. And get back.
Go smoke your Costa or whatever.
Go hang out in a dark room for another 60 days so you don't hurt yourself.
But yeah, definitely ownership, the coaches, they need to step in here because he's going to want to play.
Oh my God,
I understand if
friends, teammates, everybody needs to step in.
If they were, competing, but they're not.
If you had a shot to make the playoffs,
they don't.
Garrett Wilson should come up and say something to him. Breece Hall should say something to him. The defense should come up and say something to him. Please don't come back and play. We need you next year. What happens if something worse happens?
Yeah, you can't do another
let us draft a fucking offensive line to protect you because you're still not going to get any fucking protection.
Like you just said, he's 40 coming back from an injury. Most guys, no, granted, at the position, it's not as demanding for like a wide receiver or running back. Like to cut on that, yeah, like
but
very
don't
different.
come back the same season.
Yeah, never. As soon as he popped it, you're like, that's automatically what you think of. Like, it would be silly impressive if he does make it happen, but if I am the Jets ownership group, I'm blocking that. Like, there's no way. I don't care if you're cleared in your health. Like, there's no fucking way, dude.
Do you think the owner wants to have him play though?
Absolutely. Oh, it's New York. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. They want to get him on the field. They absolutely do.
Both want to be in there, so that might he
I
might
know.
get on the field that year because of that.
He might just play week 17 and 18 just cause they might be out of anything, and he just comes back. He's healthy. Let him throw a couple of dimes, and then sub Zack Wilson in. He might not even play full games. Okay. Here's the thing. Okay, here we go. Pot bet, if you will, between. Do you think he will actually play at any meaningful, if he did, will he come back?
If he's come back, I think he comes back, and I don't think they're taking him out. He's staying in. They're not playing some other quarterback.
If he comes back,
no way that's happening. If he's back,
yep. If he comes back, he's back.
Okay.
And I think he's coming back. And it hits him.
21 days, so it's down to 19.
I hope he stays healthy.
Yeah, no, you never want to see somebody who is, prolific. Like, he's a game changer. He's one of the top 10 quarterbacks of all time. I don't know. We can debate all around and generations.
We really have to lay that out.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But
he's top. If you said arm talent, he's top 5.
He's gifted. He is. He's a game changer.
John Elway, Dan Marino.
Here's the thing.
Aaron Rodgers.
You always feel like you have a chance. If you are only down one possession with Aaron Rodgers, you feel like you got a chance.
Correct.
He might not always convert it, but you never feel like, oh, we're fucked.
Watching Aaron throw a football is like watching Justin Herbert throw a football.
It's so weird.
Like Patrick, it looks so nice.
He's side steps. He doesn't step in. He steps to the side when he throws.
Looks so
really
nice.
Weird. But it's not conventional at all.
It just looks fucking.
But yeah, if you do come back, Aaron Rodgers, I don't think you should. But if you do stay healthy, play well,
Since we're talking quarterbacks, let's do kind of a 2 quarterback kind of topic here. So we've had a ton of injuries to quarterbacks.
It's true. We've had so many rookies, undrafted free agents.
The most rookies ever starting this year. It's really changed a lot. I would really like to see the Vikings with Kirk Cousins through the year, because they started to build something.
Yeah.
And then, him on the Vikings right now would be a totally different Vikings team than the Josh Dobbs Vikings team. I
feel bad for Jared Hall, man. He had that one little opportunity, got smoked in the noggin, and then they brought in Dobbs. Yeah. So.
But also, there's been some young quarterbacks that I think. So we got the quarterbacks that are hurt, which has really affected teams. But I think there's been a lot of good young quarterback play. But there's a couple.
Obviously. Yeah.
There's a couple quarterbacks that I think if they finish this season out good, that team won't be drafting a quarterback. If the Packers keep playing, and I think Jordan Love all of a sudden looks like, dude, watching that game last week or on Thursday, dude, he threw some fucking really nice looking balls, and it looks like Matt LaFleur's kind of more opened up the offense instead of dink dunk. Jordan was throwing balls down the field. I think he is playing for his starting job next year. I think if he finishes out strong, maybe the Packers don't go quarterback in draft. I also think... Well,
he doesn't have another year under contract.
Yeah, he was signed an
They
extension.
only gave him the 1 year. Or was it 1 or 2 years?
2 years.
It was 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Aiden O'Connell, I think, is also another one that's playing for the Raiders. If he finishes out strong, maybe they go a quarterback later and not first round. And I think Sam Howell is another quarterback, a young kid that's playing. And I think that, man, I really want to see him stay there because
he can develop. He's close. He shows really, really, really good plays a decent amount of time. That team around him, he's got killers.
He's running for his fucking
It's
life.
The offensive line. It is 100% because he's got weapons. He's got good running backs. He's got good receivers. Logan Thomas has had a pretty good year at tight end. He's finally healthy.
Since we're talking about the Commanders, Rivera seems to be out. Do you promote
the enemy?
Because this offense has been good.
I mean,
the offense has put up points,
right? And you just made the argument going from defense to offense to head coach, and he's already in your system. And
I got another place.
Sense.
I got another place for Bieniemy. So
and where's that?
at the Panthers. I think that there's not one person that's going to take that job because David Tepper. Well, then we'll get into it in the common sense.
Okay.
Let's just hold that for common sense.
Okay.
Yes, I think that those three quarterbacks. Am I missing any other young guys? I think Pickett. Dude, I don't know. Well, no.
As far as injuries?
Yeah, hurt.
Yeah.
But like young quarterbacks
that
are playing for kind of their job. We know Bryce.
I know the Steelers are fine with Pickett. He absolutely gets
I don't know
next
about
year.
Pickett.
100%.
I don't know about him either.
I
I
don't
think he's
think
kind of
we-
playing for his job.
I don't think we know about him, but they're going to be too good. They're 7-4, right, or 7-3, or
Something
7-4.
like that.
They have 7 wins. Like they're going to be too good to potentially get that next guy. And they just spent the 20th pick on Pickett 2 years ago.
You think he's playing for his job, Trev?
I don't think.
I mean, I understand both sides. I would like to see a better quarterback for Pittsburgh, but Chuck's kind of right that they're winning games, and I think they're going to make the playoffs.
That pushes you farther
that's
out of
probably
that,
going
right.
to push his.
This is the draft, though.
Sure.
This is the draft where you can find a dude
28, 29,
in the
30.
lower first round. Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, all might be in there in the 20s. Seriously. JJ maybe. How the fuck is JJ in the top 10?
I'm not gonna lie. If Jaden Daniels is there while Malcolm Penix is still there and the Seahawks are on the clock, I would rather go Daniels over Penix. I mean, yes.
Miss out on the hometown guy.
It's only because I'm just looking big picture, man. Russell Wilson was the best in that offense with his mobility. We need to open that back up. Like Gino he's got decent pocket presence, but he doesn't.
That means that Pete's got to kind of allow that. Like I think Pete's wants more of the pocket.
Well, it depends on if we're even gonna keep Shane Waldron. His game plans have kind of become stagnant. That's a whole thing. I don't want to get into the Seahawks specifically, but
What's the next? So we hit quarterbacks, running backs.
But you're right though in the sense that this is the quarterback draft.
Right, we don't know about next year. Like Trev just listed off. Riley Leonard's coming out next year. Tyler Van Dyke's coming out next year. Those are later round dudes, but those are also guys that we don't really have a great grasp on. Quentin Ewers we've totally forgot about him. He's a dude that was supposed to go in the top. He was supposed to be the third quarterback after the other guys, after Drake May and Caleb. So
right.
We're gonna hit this draft so hard this year with this stuff.
I'm so excited.
But this
we're in the middle.
This kind of is like the quarterback draft. It looks like this is the quarterback draft.
Well, the last one was at 85 when they did the first. Was 5 in the first round. Was that the Elway Marino? Was that 85 or something? I forget the year.
That's Elway Marino.
I don't know. I want to say it was 85.
It's 84, 85.
That's the year that rings the bell in my head. But you could very well see that this year.
And since we're talking about quarterbacks, just quarterbacks that I'd like to see get a second chance somewhere else. Justin Fields, that Bears situation is tough. He's also had to deal with injuries. I think he might be a good fit maybe in some place like Atlanta that doesn't have a high pick. It depends on who falls their way at the draft.
Is Arthur Smith going to be the coach?
They gotta let him throw the fucking rock, dude. If you watch these Chicago games, all he's throwing is bubble screens and slants. If you really want to see what he's got, let him fucking wheel and deal. He's gotta pull the trigger.
Yeah, not a big fan of their offense coordinator.
It's sad. You have DJ Moore who has
defensive head coach.
Yes, that's the problem. You signed went out and got defensive head coach with a young quarterback. Why the fuck did you do that? That makes no fucking sense.
No,
Chicago.
No,
dude, it makes zero sense. That should be the common sense. But maybe we'll go on this. If you are drafting a quarterback, do not have a defensive head coach.
We're doing it right now.
It doesn't fucking work.
Common sense. Here we go.
It doesn't fucking work. We've watched it. It's evident. The evidence is there. How many times has a defensive coach had a young quarterback and it's not working? Chargers, Bears.
It's true, and it's recent too. That's not just
And Justin Herbert's covering
5 8 years ago.
Justin Herbert's covering up all that fucking mess too. Josh Allen, Sean McDermott.
Yep.
Defensive head coaches with young quarterbacks, it doesn't work.
Or you have to bring in somebody when he had Dayball obviously on his staff, so you have to make sure that you pivot to having that guru for your quarterback or the offensive in general.
Right, like a Shane Steichen is your offensive coordinator. Even though Nick Sirianni is an offensive coach, Shane Steichen was the offensive coordinator. They got Jalen Hurts, brought Jalen Hurts out of the box. You look at it like anytime that the McVays or McDaniels are offensive coordinators, even though they were still playing for an offensive coach, those guys are all still great head coaches right now, even though they were playing, like McDaniels was under Shanahan and McVay was under the other.
Well, always come from a tree, for sure.
But you look at what they're doing with these quarterbacks. Brian Flores and Tua look like absolute shit. All of a sudden McDaniels comes in and Tua's a top 10 quarterback playing for McDaniels. Like dude, it's evident. Don't fucking do it, teams.
Yeah, golly.
So to get back to the quarterbacks, Mac Jones is another guy I'd like to see on another team too.
What a waste, man. Made the Pro Bowl his first year, had a little bit of juice, came out and was like, oh wow, this kid can play.
He actually had an offensive coordinator though.
Just got beat down these last 2 years. And his bitching and moaning doesn't help, dude. He's kind of a whiny kid.
He's kind of a whiny little.
Yeah, and that's tough to watch. It's hard to pull for a guy who's always
He does seem kind of like that.
He does, kind of Luka.
Kind of want to pop him in the face. I do. Every time I see Mac Jones, I just kind of like want to.
He's got a very punchable face.
Yes, he does, and he's always like he's like crying. Same with Luka too.
Right, you're always crying.
Anybody got another topic?
Sure, dude. We can go.
I got one too, but
let's keep going.
Mix it up.
Yeah, go one more, and then Trev go one more, and I'll go one more.
What does Chicago, Arizona, New England do with the first pick? Is it Caleb Williams? Is he guaranteed the number one after the season he just had?
I still think so.
I got a lot of questions.
We just named 3 teams that all are probably going to need a quarterback.
Well, what are you going to do?
Pretty much the 3 teams
Kyler?
that are going to be at the top. Well, you can trade him. He does that value now at this point.
Oh, I hope he goes to the Bears because I hate the other 2 teams more.
He just came back, and as long as he stays healthy, right? He's got to stay healthy.
That contract's pretty fucking big, though. That's a huge contract.
Yeah,
you're not trading no middle of the road.
Right?
Contract.
No, you're trading a $200 million contract. That's a link to it.
And you have to be able to run a system. You have to be able to
run
his system.
Right? But here's the thing, though. So you reach out to the quarterback hungry team. Right? Because you don't have to necessarily...
But is that the Falcons? Because they
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Here's the thing. You don't necessarily have to get a whole lot out of them because you're going to save so much fucking money by drafting a quarterback that you get to pay kibbles and bits versus the fucking $35-40 million you're giving Kyler. So it's literally whoever you can dump them to and get a pick or 2 or potentially a starter or 2 and then you're out. Gone. Get what you can.
But the argument's there with the Bears, do you keep Justin, try to build it?
Sure.
It's the same argument with the Cardinals.
Right.
You keep Kyler and take the Marvin Harrison, or take the other offensive lineman, or take the Brock Bowers.
Yeah, because if you decide to do that, you can trade that pick, build up a lot of picks, build that roster around what you got, and see how it goes.
Especially when you're the Bears and you get 2. You're getting Carolina's pick and you're getting your pick.
Yeah, so you have 1 and 4 right now.
So you could literally either pair your quarterback and receiver, or
Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr.
Or you could go Marvin Harrison Jr. and the offensive tackle from Penn State, who's just a killer.
He's a Hawaiian boy.
Yeah, dude, he's a killer. And then so you get those 2 dudes. So now you've already locked up your left side. Now you have the quarterback.
We're spilling down the draft again, gentlemen. All right, so bad officiating as well. How do you guys? I feel like this season there has been flags on Seattle's the most penalized team in the league, and so I guess just watching it every week is just exhausting. And some of them, yes, are penalties. Penalties do happen. I'm not saying everybody plays a clean game, but against the Cowboys on Thursday, there were 3. We gifted them 5 first downs by penalties on one drive.
Do you
think that's even feasible?
I think it's about the same. I think maybe it's a little bit higher. But I also think that there are times where I'm like, dude, that was a fucking... What are you doing there? That's pass interference. I just watched that guy hold that guy all the way across the field. So I think it's both ways. I think there's a lot being drawn.
No calls too.
But I think there's a lot of stuff when you watch a game, like, dude, that guy got mugged going across the middle, or dude, that's a late hit there, or like Justin Herbert got killed on the sideline a couple weeks ago and no late hit was called. So I think it's bad both ways, but I think it's always bad both ways.
Yeah, I mean, is there any way to fix that? You just raise the pay and hire better guys, or
no, because
it's just
you
always
have
gonna
to.
be
Well, you have to
like,
go with the guys who have come up through the institution, who know the rules, who have watched the NFL, who have done. Like you can't just restart with a bunch of rookies. They're going to be even worse. It's like when we have those fucking replacement refs.
Replacing them with rookies. Yes, you're going.
But where would you source the better officiating?
Yeah, it's
that's the tricky part, right?
Maybe I think you put more officials on the field. Is that something you get?
I don't know.
Or do you go to maybe the booth more, or the guys in New York that are
I don't know, because
that
shit sucks when it kills the fucking.
But you don't. But it doesn't have to. I don't understand why it has to take that long.
Right?
You literally have
two views.
Two views.
30 seconds should be down on the field.
I can be sitting watching the couch. You could call me and be like, "Dude, was that a fumble?" No. Okay.
Was he out? Look at his toe. Out. Go.
Done. It doesn't have to take that long.
I agree.
It takes you could have 32. There's 16 games a week or something, or
that's the most you could ever have. Yeah.
16 people are watching, and it's not even 16 at the same time. It's like 8 and 4. You have somebody sitting there watching every game, and you missed that call. Like pull it back, or no, that was awful.
Well, that's what the booth is supposed to be. There's literally people on site for that, and it still takes forever.
But it should be a lot quicker, and they should be fixing. They should fix more stuff.
Okay, there you go.
Do we have any more?
My one last thing is how bad the offensive line play's been this year around the league.
Now,
college product.
The question that I ask off of this is the defensive line's getting better?
I think the defense is getting more athletic. I think that the offensive line. I think when all these players push for the CBA and like wanted the CBA change, and you not being able to practice pads on, do all this stuff. I think it's just the offensive line isn't getting enough work in, and they're just not getting enough work in, and there's not good enough offensive line coaching. I think it's part of it. You're not seeing the growth from college to pro. You get some of these guys are killing it, but you see a lot of first round offensive line kind of not making it. You never used to see that. When you took a tackle usually in the first round, that dude was usually pretty good.
The dude.
And now it's like there's a lot of misses, and so I don't know if it's like the college kids aren't coming up being coachable because it's all pass blocking in college because you're running so many spreads. I don't know what it is, but
true. Run blocking is not emphasized the way that it once was, for sure. Not in the college game anyway.
Yeah.
Very, watching last night was like, if you watch even the major college programs, like typically the running game, you can average 4 or 5 yards, 6 yards a carry. There's a hole. There's at least one hole almost every. Like the lines are not as good. Right, it's been tough to watch,
and it's not. Yeah, it's every game I've watched.
Agreed.
There are a couple of teams that have really good offensive lines, but it's far and few between. Like, and especially if you don't have the dude. Like Trev's got Trent Williams. When Trent Williams plays, it changes the whole offensive line. When the Raiders have Colton Miller, we don't have an astounding offensive line.
They're 0-3.
Yes,
that's like
it's proven.
Yeah.
When the Raiders have Colton Miller, you see a difference. When you have a dude on the left side, and then you can build other guys in, but you don't see it.
It's why that left tackle, when you get it's like one of the most coveted positions. It's paid for a reason. Like that is a very pivotal position on a football field.
Correct.
And when you can get the dude, it's super helpful.
And then you can if you can hit a homer on another guard and a center, and then have your right tackle so, that's what you want. But it's like a lot of misses.
Makes me think of the Cowboys a couple years ago when they had that really good offensive line when they just drafted Dak, and they were just killing it. And then that line got beat up and traded
and
fell apart a little bit.
Dude, when you can shove the fucking football down a defense's throat because you can push the defense line backwards every time, dude, it's a bad feeling for a defense.
As a fan, as a player.
Whenever you can go into a 4-minute offense by your own choice, whenever you can just say, all right, we're just line up. You know what's coming. We're better than you. That's why I love Marshawn Lynch.
Put 8 in the fucking box, and I'm still running it down your throat.
We're coming right for you, motherfuckers. There's no guess.
And it's the same. And it's the same on the defense line too. When you have a good defense line, dude, I'm fucking in your face. I'm touching the quarterback. I don't have to sack the quarterback.
Constant pressure. You see run gap stoppage.
Yep.
Like you're not worried. Like everything's 3 yards in front of them. Like watching a defensive line who is like humming, and it's like 3 to 4 guys who are all on the script. It's so beautiful. Like Offensive line is great too. When you see like polling blockers and they know their assignments and they're out in front and they clear the whole line.
Jason Kelsey.
That's pretty fucking cool.
Watching Jason Kelsey pull
Well,
from the
because it's
center
funny. He's
position.
a smaller dude in the
fucking
size of like offensive lineman. I think he's only like 260, 270, which is small for an offensive lineman, but he's agile.
Watching him pull from the center position in that Eagles game the other night, dude, he fucking lays wood on fucking people, man. Dude. It's
the nuances of the game.
Great little segment there, boys. We're gonna take a break and come back with a heated common sense about owners, and then we're all gonna have our own fandom here.
Well, I think the fandom is essentially NCAA, right?
No, my fandom's UNR. I think Trev's got a fandom of his game this weekend.
Yeah. Oh, the Niner game? Okay, well, yeah, mine's about the NCAA.
Yeah, so mine's about this shit.
Well, that's NCAA.
Yeah, this shit.
All right, so we going for a third beer, or we pausing the booze?
I probably need a pause.
We're pausing the booze.
Yeah. I still got a little bit left in the tank. Welcome back to Balls&Brews. Cheers, boys. Do you notice Chuck actually finished his beers before me and Trev this time, so he has a new one? Chuck, why don't you give us an update on what you're doing?
Because at the transfer pod, like Downey alluded to, we transferred to my house, so I can have the third beer because homeboy doesn't have to drive.
And this homeboy has to drive.
That homeboy has to drive. So, okay, you guys, this one is special to my heart. Like, I'm very happy that Downey brought this over. Y'all should know this beer. This is Downtown Brown by Lost Coast. This is
great brewery.
Yeah, out of Eureka, California.
One of the ones I actually want to go to, actually.
Oh yeah, dude. It's right in the mountains, dude, up there in Northern California. And this is a beer. Remember a couple of pods we talked about beers that you crave, right? Or like this is another one of them. Like a Downtown Brown is an absolute, and it's a flagship of theirs, which is nice. So it's available wherever there's Lost Coast. Drinks at 5%. It's a straightforward brown ale. Just highly recommended. I'm going to enjoy this as we go along into common sense. Yeah.
All right, let's jump into common sense. Common sense this week is is it common sense, or is it common sense for owners to be telling coaches what to do and how to run their offenses or defenses? Reports came out this week of that David Tepper was trying to tell Frank Wright how to run an offense or run the team, and Frank Wright said, no, that's not the way we run the offense, and didn't do it the way Tepper was wanting. And I don't know if that led to the firing, but that had to be part of it. Had to be led to it. So what's your guys' feelings on it? What's your feelings on owners to coach or impeding themselves into what the coach and GM does?
I mean, if you're an owner, there's certain players, of course, you're gonna like, but bringing that final decision to you when you've hired a staff to be making those decisions, that conflict is gonna create issues. It seems to in Dallas from time to time. We're seeing it in Carolina this season. I mean, it's
right, because if you think about it, you're not a fucking talent evaluator. You watch football the same way we do as fans who can appreciate the game and the athleticism, but you don't know, like as an owner, you're just the guy with the money. You have to bring the people in who are involved so in the day-to-day and the grind on the field with the players. They know communication, they see it they're working with that. You have to trust the staff that you built. That is essentially what you're saying, and that's where, as an owner, the best owners are hands-off, I think. And
I think you could get jaded as an owner, though, if you brought in some coaching staffs that you thought were going to be the guys, and then they turn out not to be the guys.
You give too much trust to somebody, and you have to eat a turd sandwich. I mean, there's that too.
But then, I think you fire them on that, but you're not trying to tell them how to either run said offense or run.
Well, yeah, because I think that's an easier L to take than if you interject and you put together a shit team, and then you're like, well, now this is really my fucking fault, and I'm the owner. I don't fire myself. I own the fucking team. Like, I have to find a way to get around what the fuck I did versus firing a staff who's just underwhelming is a little bit easier, especially on, like, I would imagine and you stay out of the fucking media a little bit more. Like, I don't know. Owners shouldn't be You facilitate. You delegate downward. You're the top of the pyramid. You should not be doing the stuff in the middle of the pyramid that needs to get done. That's what the GM and all of the coaches for. You have 1 million coaches.
Well, you have a whole front office too. Your
Trust them.
GMs, your assistant GMs,
Build
your scouts.
that out. Make your life easier and reap the benefits of having the people in the right position.
So we talked Bieniemy earlier. This is the spot that I see Bieniemy going because of the reports that have come out of Carolina about Tepper's involvement in the draft, Tepper's involvement in not really. I mean, he's just fucking shit cannon dudes left and right.
Shit cannon.
I think that if you're an established coach or already had a head coaching job, you're not going to go here. I think this is the man. I'm not going to get another shot type hire. So you're go there.
Sense there.
You go there because you haven't got a shot. You have never, or Bieniemy's getting never got shots anywhere. So if the Reds or Commanders move on,
Good catch.
if the Commanders move on and they release Rivera, right, and Bieniemy and the whole staff,
Which they should, right? They've
Yeah.
peaked with him. They've seen what it is. It's time to move on.
Who do you think they bring in? Do you have a name?
they've been the rumor. The Commanders have been the rumor mill of the Patriot trade, which would be awful. But they've been that. I don't know. Who you look? I mean, Ben Johnson's got to be up there.
He's the hot name, but I think
The defensive coordinator for the Bengals, I've heard him up there. You have
No, they're successful assistant coaches. I'm sure that they will find somebody within the tree of the tree. But
right, because then I've also heard if Brandon Staley gets shit canned,
oh my God.
does Kellen Moore go back and head
how does
coach
he
Boise
not?
State?
How does he not get shit canned?
that's a team that I think should bring in Ben Johnson. I think that's the hire.
Ooh,
to make.
man, that would
Pairing
be
him with Herbert.
And then having Kellen Moore, if he stayed as the coordinator, oh my lord,
But
it's
even-
too much.
But it's the
Ben might bring his own dudes in, but if Kellen leaves, I heard
That's
Kellen
true.
might go head coach.
That's true.
Kellen's one of the top names for Boise State right now.
That makes sense. I remember
Yeah.
watching him play at Boise.
Yep.
Dude, they lit it up.
Hell yeah.
But
Not
so,
in Nevada though.
so I think we're all in the same opinion on this owner thing.
It's common sense. Owners stay out of the day-to-day. You're macro, not micro. Hire and facilitate.
I'll start Fandom off this week.
Fandom. I love the Fandom. Let's go.
Nevada fired Ken Wilson 2 years in. Yes, the record sucked. Dude, I've fucking been going to Nevada games since I've been like old enough to walk. I've had season tickets my whole life. I go to them religiously, even though we suck sometimes.
That's not the point. That's not the point.
it's been
No, when Nevada was unwilling to give Norvell a raise. Okay, let's start here. Nevada has no money anyways, right?
Rewind.
Ken Wilson is the 5th lowest paid head coach in Division I football. That's like unbelievable. 133 teams, and you're
Right.
129 out of 130 fucking 3. So that's where Norvell was too. So when Norvell left, he got paid double the money by
To go to
college.
Colorado State.
Then necessarily at one point, Nevada was kind of a little bit higher. I mean,
100%.
same conference, double the money to go there, right?
Right.
So now you just fired Ken Wilson. When Norvell left 2 years ago, he took everybody.
Right.
So Ken Wilson came into no fucking team. He's only had a year and a half to really recruit. He had some transfers come. But you should have given him at least one more year because his first year was shit. He had no players to play with because of what Norvell did. Also, who in the fuck are you going to go pay or get?
And
you have
don't
nobody
wanna pay
else.
anybody.
It's
You're
not a
paying-
destination job.
You're not paying, so you're going to go get somebody, right? Like another Norvell. He's going to come in for 2 or 3 years and then bounce because he's going to go somewhere else.
Sure.
Ken Wilson was a dude, you should have told him, fire your whole offensive staff, give me a new offensive staff, and we'll keep you on. He would have been the Nevada guy. He wasn't going from Nevada to somewhere else.
Okay.
So now you're going to reach out, are you going to go Rolovich, who got fired at Washington State because he didn't do the COVID stuff, who was a alt offensive coordinator, and now he's an offensive coordinator for an XFL team. The paper was listing out fucking the offensive coordinator for Utah. Why in the fuck would he come here? He's getting paid more by Utah. Arizona's
100% as a coordinator.
Arizona's offensive coordinator. I would love Arizona's offensive. Why the fuck would he come to Nevada? We're not going to give out a check.
We
So-
don't have the boosters. We're not a school based on money. Like
we just build, we
UNR. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to shit on the university. It's a very nice university. They actually have expanded in recent years.
Yeah, the
They've done a
campus is
lot
actually
to it,
looking
but
well.
it's not we're not a destination. We're Reno. Even UNLV is not a destination. There's no colleges in Nevada that are like premier as far as like the athletics. Anyway, now obviously Colin Kaepernick was
we've had some basketball teams.
And we've had Snyder and it's not that, but they're not.
But you have to be understanding of who you are.
Sure, 100%. Yeah.
Firing Ken Wilson, now you're paying him because you just fired him. And now you go.
Don't worry, you're not paying him much.
No, it's not much. But like where's the big picture and who are you getting because you're not paying anybody? So are you gonna go get a dude that's an offensive coordinator for somebody for him to come 2-3 years and then bounce out again because he's gonna get hired by fucking Arizona?
If he's even good enough, right? Yeah, it could just be a carousel of hire and fire, or hire, find the right guy, leave.
Correct. So that's why I thought that the Ken Wilson firing is a little early. Believe me, it has not been good. I go to the fucking
2-10.
I've watched the games on TV. It's not good, but I think the defense was playing better. But I think
just didn't give him enough time to turn the corner.
I think you missed on that one.
Okay, that's that's real fandom right there.
Yes, sir.
Go for it, boys.
You want a first crack or second crack?
Well, I mean, my crack, if you will, is also kind of in the same vein of NCAA football in general, because as I'm wearing my Huskies throwback Feds Pops, I stole that from your closet. No, this is legit. This is a fucking Lee sport. Yeah, this isn't no rethread. This motherfucker's from like the early 90s. But the fandom is in relation to it. What an amazing game last night. I want to gush about that a little bit because I just think that, Washington winning 9.5-point dogs. We kept saying that all night. 9.5-point dogs. At neutral stadium, we already had a 1 win against them. Now, granted, it's because Oregon was playing a little hotter. Washington was kind of escaping games and Oregon was dominating.
Correct.
But 9.5, what the disrespect is
too
that?
high.
That's a disrespectful line for an undefeated team. Who has a win over them?
It should have been like that weird
3.5 at
I would
most.
have thought it would have been a weird 4 or 5.
Okay,
Just a weird,
but I mean, really, over a touchdown, 2 possessions.
Yeah, no.
Disrespectful. But
I thought Oregon was going to win the game. The way Oregon came into the way Oregon was coming in, the way Washington was coming in. We literally sat after a pod and watched the Utah game and fucking shit our pants because Utah literally was in the game the whole time and we're yelling at the TV the whole fucking game because Utah's in the game the whole time. And it was just like, dude, Utah kind of gave Washington's defense a fit. What's Oregon's offense to do? And then we saw Oregon's offense kind of come alive about 2 minutes left in the second quarter, and then the third. So they just stumbled all the way through that first quarter, and then most of the second quarter, Oregon's offense something was off. But then, you guys played great. It was an amazing game.
So the continued fandom to this.
Sorry, so that was a sidebar.
Not at all. It was a sidebar with it was perfect. But is that it really bums me out. I'm really having a hard time. Before I get into this side or this topic, I want to say I love you, Pac-12. I'm sorry. It's a very big loss to the college. 100 plus years, 120 years, It's the oldest conference from top to bottom. It outdates the SEC. It outdates the Big 12, the Big 10, the Big 8, any of them. It's the oldest, and now it's just nothing. And Cal and Stanford are going to play in the fucking ACC.
Pac-2.
No, they're moving to the Mountain West. Basically, they're independent. Then
I don't even know what they call themselves.
They're independents, but I have to really, my heart goes out to that's tough. That bugs me.
That's tough for those fan bases.
It bugs me a whole lot.
As fans, could you imagine being one of those teams and you're like, dude, the fuck, we just got totally fucked.
Yeah, we just lost the premier conference on the West Coast.
You were national, and those two teams were nationally ranked through most of the season. They kind of fluttered at the end, but Washington State and Oregon State had good years. They're not just like piss away programs.
Right, and have been kind of good as of recently, like where they have big numbers. Yeah, they have every 4 or 5 years they're really good.
Big time boo to the NCAA about that one, not getting your shit in order and keeping the Pac-12. That's just garbage. The other side of the coin is that, man, with these conferences and the way they're building, some of these teams that are coming together, we could build rivalries against Ohio State and Michigan and Wisconsin and Minnesota. And these are, programs too that are, when they're good, they're healthy for the NCAA. So the pocketbook fills and the matchups get better. They do.
Yeah, because the schedule next year.
How dare you?
Have you seen the schedule next year?
Huh?
Have you seen the Big Ten schedule next year?
No, I have not. They've dropped it. They've dropped it.
They've dropped matchups.
Okay. Well, yeah, they're gonna. Okay. Well, as far as like alignments or who's gonna play who.
Yeah. It's USC and Michigan are like week 2. It
has to. It has to hit that way. That's what I'm saying.
It's crazy.
So I get it.
That's SEC. That's kind of SEC. I think maybe the Big 10.
They're getting Texas.
The Big 20 might be more.
The Big 20.
Is it more top? Okay, sorry, sidebar game. If we got Ohio State, Michigan, USC, Washington, Oregon.
That's all one conference next year.
And then you get Bama, Georgia, LSU, Oklahoma, Texas. SEC might be a little bit more loaded, but that Big Ten is definitely.
Damn, dude, listen to that.
That's the playoff right there.
Two different conferences. Yeah, damn right. Oh my god, that was 10 teams off the top that were dangerous.
And that's not talking. That's not talking Clemson or Florida State. Clemson might come back. Florida State, I think we're going to see a lot.
I think as long as Dabo's there, they're going to have
I don't know. I'm a little bit more down on Dabo now. Okay. I'm kind of taken aback, and I used to be a Dabo dude. I think kind of back seat to. The Big 12, if you look, your Arizona State, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, there's not really a dominant football team. Oklahoma State has good years. Arizona was amazing at the end of the year. But with the loss of Texas and Oklahoma, you got UFs or one of the Florida teams is now in the
UCF, and USF, right?
Yeah.
Isn't South Florida as well?
Houston's
just
in there.
The Knights. Yeah, Houston. Yep. That's right. Yeah.
So it's just
it's like
you have, just since you were talking about this, the ACC slightly ahead of the Big 12.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Because of
I don't think
Florida
it's really that. Those two conferences are a lot closer than the top two.
Correct.
Oh sure. No, there's a large gap in between those two as well. Like it's the premiers that we just talked about with the Big Ten and the SEC, and then you got a gap
because
and it comes back
still
down
can't figure out how in the fuck Miami isn't good. You are the U.
We all about the U.
You guys don't hire a coach, fucking
favorite 30 for 30, dude. Another sidebar, but favorite 30 for 30. Like,
dude, they have to be better. Why you go to live in the city of Miami? You fucking play for the U. What is going on with that school? Why isn't that school better?
I know.
Sidebar 7, but yes, ACC I think is definitely better than the Big 12 because the Big 12 doesn't have a Florida State or Clemson.
They don't have a premier team.
I don't know how premier Clemson is anymore. And Florida State, I give you them. They are the premier team in the ACC.
They have to be. Yeah, they're 4
what
right
if they
now.
leave?
But it's really going to depend on what next year also looks like too. They could,
I think
Mike devoid of talent.
I think Mike Norvell is the dude at Florida State. So I think they got their guy. I think he's not probably moving on. You're at like. FSU is a premier program. You're not moving from anywhere else.
There's really not the other programs that would be above them aren't going to be available.
Yeah, anywhere. Like Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State. Right. No, you're not. That's not.
Ryan Day need to beat Michigan.
I don't think they're on the high checks though. A&M just writes those checks though.
Yeah, but that's where the kid from Duke, the guy from Duke,
everybody.
But the guy from Duke's going there. He's gonna straighten.
They're paying 2 coaches that they've already fired on top of the coach that they need to bring in.
Paying Kevin Sumlin. Yeah, but that's because Texas A&M got that oil money, dude. They already paid those coaches off. They didn't even see a checkbook. That's fucking easy. Dude, that's easy peasy at Texas A&M.
So to wrap up the fandom, Trev, what you got for us?
Oh yeah, we went sidebars.
Oh
yeah, got heavy on that sidebar. My fandom dates back to the NFC Championship of last year. Eagles, the Niners. We do a pod parlay every week, and I knew I was betting this game as soon as I knew the schedule. And I don't like betting on a home dog.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's not a bet I like to make, but I could not do it. This is a total fandom bet. I feel like there's a chance, though.
I do too.
I think these are the 2 best rosters in the NFL. I feel like Philly's been finding ways to win, but I don't think they're a step above everybody else that has 3 losses. So
the loss to Shane Steichen, we called it early on. It's definitely shown.
Yeah, both of us, I thought,
Yep.
You guys were
a bigger step.
I called Philly humming, and like I have them in the Super Bowl.
We both had the Cowboys, but we both said the loss, and you can see it, dude. It is evident they are, dude. That team wins, and it's great, but they aren't as dominant
right?
As they were.
And I think that's where the Niners, they pass that eye test, dude. When they are clicking, they are terrifying.
When they are
both sides of the ball.
Dude, when they are healthy, when they are healthy, because once they lose a couple pieces, they need
any team. That's
right.
any team.
But
they've gotten
I
better
think
at
they
health.
need the whole offensive crew, and
Right.
they need all the pieces for the offense.
But they're there. They're back, and they're on a winning streak again.
That's why, again, I made this bet. I would have fell off of it if we're going through
If
injuries.
you're doing the in and out kind of thing, but no,
the team's healthy.
Health, boom,
Correct.
instantly, right back to the cream of the crop.
Yep.
And I hate it. God, we got to play in we play next week, next Sunday.
You guys got a tough schedule.
It's bird hunting schedule. We got Seahawks, we got the Eagles, we got the Ravens.
Oh, yeah, it's
we got
everything,
the Cardinals.
You guys got a toughie coming up too. You guys got.
We have the Niners and then the Eagles.
And then you guys have the Dolphins too, or who's
No, the Titans.
Titans? Okay.
Yeah, so
you have
that's
that
where
there.
the reprieve kind of happens.
But I knew you guys had a tough schedule.
No, yeah, no,
too.
it's we're in the gauntlet, and obviously we haven't passed the test yet. Since we were 6-3, now we're 6-6. We're on a 3-game losing streak for the first time in like several years.
I thought your offense looked better than
We clicked. We had a pulse. Oh my god! I walked away from that game at least feeling like, okay, the end result sucked, but that game was like, wow! Like, that was an excellent game other than the terrible fucking flags everywhere. That's one of the reasons why I brought up the bad officiating, was just that game alone. There was like 225
Stop cheating,
combined. That's what I say every time. I love that. Stop cheating. I say that too, but... dude,
sorry, Trevor. I think we jumped into your.
No, it's all good.
It's
This is
so
a good
many
sidebar.
sidebars. So many sidebars.
And I'm going to keep it on the sidebar. I mean, Seahawks are in a scrum for that wild card.
7, yeah, that's yeah. And at this point, once we've just talked about with having those quarterbacks there, if we don't get into the playoffs, and
yeah, just keep going, Chuck. Don't look. Don't look. Zach's going through some shit right now.
I got a cramp. I'm still here, Chuck. Keep going, buddy.
That's a sidebar.
Keep going, buddy. I'm cramping.
That's okay.
Double
We're gonna
sidebar.
make it.
Drinking
We're
the
gonna
night,
get some water.
drinking
We're
the
gonna
night
get some
before,
water.
drinking
Oh
the day
my
before.
God.
Keep going, Chuck.
This is the greatest thing that's ever happened on this spot. What was I talking about?
Seahawks.
Who?
Scrum for
yeah, the 7th seed, and that we're never gonna tank, right? But if we don't make the playoffs and we position ourselves right around that 16-17 mark in the
Middle
draft,
that middle.
yeah, that's where the guy that we need is gonna be potentially.
Unless he jumps, he could have the biggest jump.
He could. There's no sure.
You want,
but then even behind him, we just talked about Caleb Drake, Ewers, Penix, Bo Nix. We're there.
Jaden Daniels.
There's we're
JJ
just
McCarthy.
rambling them off right there, dude. That was 7.
People
right?
love JJ McCarthy.
That was 7. So in theory, if you're around the 16th, 17th mark, if one of the 2 guys that you really like out of that process is there, please do it. Like, Gino, I have to be fair. Zack has been very critical of Gino, and it's been fairly assessed overall. Like, this last game against Dallas, he was making some throws that was like, wow, dude.
Yeah, he looked way better.
Well, and
He still could be your bridge.
He sensed the pressure so well. Like, he had 1 sack, and he should have been sacked several times. Like, anyway, like, but to that point, if you're there, we're not. I don't want to have a lot of high picks, and we don't know how many more classes like this in the QB draft we're in.
This QB class is different.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Like, you gotta pull the trigger. I know that, like, Gino says all the right things. He seems like a really great guy. He does a lot of charity up in that, and it was great to see him have a resurgence in his career. But
he's
like
a great locker room dude.
Absolutely.
But at some point,
but I think we've kind of seen the ceiling.
Correct. At some point, you gotta have the dude.
Well, you got to get younger. He's going into it would be year 12 next year, which I mean, isn't like ancient in comparison to some of the other quarterbacks we've seen.
Your roster's set up.
We're prime
for the rookie quarterback to come in.
They have sports therapists, that massage them all the time, like so they don't cramp. They, they're gifted water on the sideline. No, but Seattle, man, we're in that mushy middle, and I just think it sucks because I was really high. It's hometown love, and I was really high on this team earlier, and we've seen who we are. We can compete, though. We are this far away from really being, like, relevant. Like, the Niners game got away from us, and the Ravens game got away from us, but we played competitive against, the Rams beat us twice, but we were competitive, obviously, in both of those games. The healthy Burrow, we went into Detroit and handed the Lions a loss. Like, we've played good games. We beat the Browns. Like, that was sans Deshaun Watson. But our defense is really good. But we're not there. And I think the dude in the draft could be that click. CJ Stroud for the fucking Texans, man. What a click that is, dude. If there's anything that, like, we could sidebar into that kid deserves some roses for the season that he's having so far.
Yeah, I read an article this week about the Dave Ziegler, ex-GM for the Raiders, wanted to move up and take CJ Stroud.
Oh, that's right, we talked about
and,
that.
Josh McDaniels said no, that he doesn't work in his offense. There's been a lot of articles that have come out. Josh McDaniels does not look good after all these articles come out. Everyone is...
Never
not good. It's not good. It is not good. And Dave Ziegler wanted to do a bunch of different moves, and Josh was the one that was ex-named. He didn't want Garoppolo. Josh wanted Garoppolo. It's been crazy. So yeah.
So shit, man. Next week we're gonna have the full college football playoff rankings. It's gonna be decided, right?
And so we'll talk
finishes tonight. Yeah.
Keep your eye out, dude. I'm not kidding about this baseball shit. It's coming down the pipe.
It's a baseball guy over here.
Dude, I cannot wait for some of these moves to happen.
And then just to put a bow on the Niner game, there's potential for this to be another matchup in the playoffs, of course.
Sure, 100%.
But what I'm really wanting to see is, when the unstoppable force meets the brick wall, that Philly offensive line against the Niners defensive line.
This is the best the NFC has to offer, no doubt. No doubt.
100%.
Big boys.
It's the best. Yep. It's the best the NFL has to offer.
Big boys against the big boys, no doubt. Like, big time players make big time plays and big time games. Yep. Santana Moss. That's where he played? Miami. He was in a Hurricanes jersey when he said that.
Get to you,
man. Fuck. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Like, make sure you follow us, Buzzsprout, Spotify. Obviously, if you're watching our faces, you're on YouTube, and we appreciate that.
Instagram and the X.
Yeah, for the beers and the parlays. You guys, we hit last week. Hey! Can't cheers with water.
Nope, I don't have anything.
We're going for 2 in a row. It was kind of a dry spell. We opened up 1-0, and then,
we hit a lot of two gamers. Then we had 1 week where we had a 0 game without gamers.
Yeah, nobody likes the 0 gamers.
Yeah, hopefully we hit again. Thanks for watching, guys.
Excellent.